Hello. Switching up a bit again, no Red Bull, but I've got a bigger monster can because I feel like I need more for today because I'm doing something a little different, which I don't know if people will like. But I usually get comments of people being like, I wish your videos were more scripted. You ramble too much, which hurts a little bit because typically I am reading from like a 2,000 word document of notes. I just like to talk. So if you're one of those people, you're probably not going to like this because I have no notes. I have nothing. I'm going in completely blind. So have fun with that. But I had this video pop up on my TikTok and I went through the comments and people were like, I need a video on this. So I was like, I didn't get tagged. Why would I? I'm a very small creator. But people were tagging other people, but I was like, do you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to make the video. Whether or not it's good, that is not up for me to decide, but we're gonna get into it. But Stargirl, I never played this game in particular, but I did play Girls Go games a lot. I know that the same breath that these games are, but we're gonna go through the wiki and just give some little information before we dive deeper. But Stargirl was developed by Totally Apps Holding Limited with a release date of November 16, 2012. The description states, it's your time to shine like a star, live a whole new life filled with beauty, fashion and glamour. All the dresses you can wear, delve into a world of countless fashion options with hundreds of cute and sexy dresses, tops, skirts, shoes, bags, accessories and more. It's a shopping wonderland. Visit stores stocked with the hottest new outfits. Everything was made for you, so shop to your heart's content. Be a singer, actress and model. Work hard to play hard. Earn money by advancing your career in various fields. The harder you work, the more clothes you can buy. Keep the next part in mind. Meet and date your crushes. Meet your dream guy. A Stargirl deserves only the best. Bring out the romantic in you in this paradise of absolute hotties. It's kind of like, I want to say like Movie Star Planet, I guess, along the same realm. Yeah, it's sort of like Movie Star Planet where you're like going to be an actor, a singer, buy clothes, go on dates with hot crushes, which is really interesting because the first thing that comes up when you search for Stargirl game is a Reddit post, the title of which states, My Dark History with Stargirl. I'm not quite sure how to start this or where to even post this. I was wondering if someone had the similar experiences as I did. It was around 2013 to 2015 when my sister and I would constantly play Stargirl. The goal of the game was to buy outfits, get famous, and get boyfriends. There's part of the game that I remember every once in a while that doesn't sit right with me. It's a chat option where you would talk to your boyfriends and potential boyfriends, and they would sex you and cuss. At the time I was young with my friends. Of course we were confused, but we didn't know better. The boyfriends were supposed to be NPCs. Plus Stargirl was targeted at a young audience. I'm not sure what's wrong with it now, but I know it's not on the App Store. When I search up anything about the whole sexing thing, nothing comes up. If this isn't the right place to post this, tell me a better thread to post this on. I'm just really curious about this. Thank you. Every single fucking comment. Let's go through them. Let's go through what everyone says. I thought I was tripping. I've been looking for confirmation forever. I remember them saying shit like sticks water hose inside your vagina and turns it on full blast. That's insane, but also completely unsurprising. I had a very similar experience with Star Chat. I bet more and more people will start remembering this. I hope we get some answers about why this was allowed to happen. To which someone said, I don't think the programmers allowed it. They just didn't think about it and didn't care or didn't know how to solve it at the time. If they didn't care, then that's crazy because that was a kid's app. We had other people saying, like, respectfully, I got BS. I used to play this game religiously and never had something like that have ever popped up. Same here, like, never ever. But someone said, I promise you I would do it on purpose because I was a hypersexual child. This is real. You just had to initiate it, kind of. Now we've got a little bit of a longer experience, which we're going to go through. To which someone says, thank you so much for posting this. Just in the last month or so, I recalled my experience with Stargirl and I was trying to find more information, any reporting about it, but I couldn't find any. When I was about 8 years old, I used the Star Chat feature and I would go out of my way to the boyfriends and they would always reciprocate. There were multiple instances of inappropriate language from the NPCs, including one time where whoever was messaging me was role-playing domination with me. This was probably around 2013-2014 and I remember that they removed the Star Chat feature at some point, probably a few years later. There's no doubt in my mind that this has to do with the inappropriate messaging because this obviously means there was a team of adults whose job it was to roleplay Star Chat boyfriends. This is disgusting. They must have discovered the predatory behaviour at some point and the feature was taken away. It's insane that this game was ever allowed to exist. There were actual adults grooming children in the game. This ties into something I have been thinking about a lot more lately. When I was a little girl on the internet, there were a lot of weird games that had to do with kissing, makeovers, and also a lot of gory surgery games. Like those kissing games where the entire object of the game is to press the kiss button where the adult isn't looking. That's so weird. I firmly believe that a lot of children on the internet were groomed by online videos, games, stories, and porn. It's really a damn shame. There should have been more done to ensure that these creepy kissing games were never made, and that fearless adults didn't have unsupervised access to a chat feature where they could say creepy predatory children. This blows my mind, and I want to know who was in on it. The developers, the people running the game, was the chat feature contracted to a third party, so why wasn't it ensured that there were no people talking to children? What a mind-blowing thing. I'm so glad we're finally talking about this. If anyone is doing research or investigating this practice or would like to share information and discuss other examples of grooming games, feel free to respond to this comment and we'll see about getting in touch. Someone else replied stating, I think as time goes on, perhaps more information will come out about Stargirl and other weird games targeted at little girls, especially considering all the recent attention that's been given to exposing predators and their enablers. I believe we will have more opportunities to expose and discuss these very real and extremely insidious ways that grooming introduced children at various levels, and not just famous children either. What a damn shame. Now, I found a little more of a disturbing comment from someone in which they state, insane, I'm from Chile, I'm 19. Recently I was thinking about that game. I was looking for the name in ChatGPT and I found it, Stargirl. My experience with this game is horrible in the Star chat. You were supposed to be able to talk with your NPC boyfriends. I remember sending a message like, hi, the NPC boyfriend replied. I'm not going to try and butcher that, but in English that means I'm going to kill you, bitch, if you don't show me your pussy. Scared, deleted the game. Further down the thread, someone states, there's another game called Stardoll, and it had a lot of teenagers and adults in there being very sexual. There's also Movie Star Planet, those whack your insert person here games. There was even YouTube videos easily found by kids that were about how to French kiss, fake sex videos where you could choose your own adventure but they'd be sexual, Sims videos where they'd have sex. There were so many violent things that would be so easy for kids to find that I believe it was growing kids to be violent and it's insane, and I believe it's only gotten worse these past few years. I know exactly what they're talking about. I was obsessed with those like Sims 2 machinima videos. I don't know why I was watching them at the ripe old age of 8 years old. I remember actually one specific time I used to watch it on my mum's iPad because I was a child and I didn't have anything else to watch it on, and it was like one of those like emo vampire love stories, and they were, you know what emo teen vampires get up to. And I remember my mum's friend walking behind me and being like, what are you watching? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't know what I'm watching. But further down, there's another little comment thread stating, I also explicitly remember this happening to me and my friends. We would always laugh because it was always a downright shocking response each time, and we didn't know how to cope. Now that I look back, that's fucking weird. Also, what the f happened to this game? There's absolutely no knowledge about it online of this happenstance, and I can't even find the game on my Android phone, even though it is on my App Store or my iPad. When I search on Google what happened to the game, there's literally not a single answer anywhere. I just downloaded it to my iPad, but there's literally nothing on it. But someone did some digging, and they said, so I did some digging around, and apparently the reason the app vanished entirely on app stores is that the developers couldn't get hold of the hackers, so they deactivated the game. You can still download it on third-party sites. I'm playing it right now, but the online server is completely wiped off. You can't play the yoga game, complete in contests, or 4 shops were taken down. The hacker complaint is pretty ironic to me because I remember vividly sending an email to Anomica telling them to take care of the hacker situation in 2016-2017, and I bet I can find an email if I tried really hard. And guess what they replied? They said that their game is a fair and square place for everyone when it isn't. They had plenty of time to resolve the issue. Anomica is going after NFTs and weird games now, so yeah, very typical of them. But the further down we go, the more digging there is. So someone said, yes, every now and then I remember this, and I tried to search it up and nothing pops up because it's such a generic name, but it literally traumatized me, never forgot about it. I always wondered if the app had gotten hacked or if it was the developers that were saying that stuff, because after a while that texting feature got removed. Also, I just searched it up and the game is still in the App Store, it just hasn't been updated in ages. Also, I played the game in Spanish and I got the explicit text in Spanish. And someone replied to that saying, in Spanish? That's so bizarre. Does that mean there were multiple teams of people who had access to StarChat, including Spanish speakers? Or that it was computer generated and therefore automatically translated? Not that I'm expecting anyone here to know the answer, I'm just curious. Do you remember if you had to change your app language settings to Spanish or the boyfriends talk to you in Spanish, or could you just go in default English mode and start speaking Spanish? I did a bit of amateur sleuthing, and apparently the chat feature of the game was in fact outsourced to another company, though I was unable to figure out if the chat feature was AI generated, computer generated, or if it was real-time human responses. However, I personally believe that things that are said to mean other children are more consistent with an actual human interaction and not AI. I also don't know if AI was advanced enough at the time for it to be viable for a children's game. Either way, whether it was human or computer, there's no way that these things should have been said to children, and I'm sorry that this negative experience has traumatized you. I want to believe that having more conversations like these and bringing awareness to the app will eventually make a difference, though that remains to be seen. Also, this means that somewhere there's a person / multiple people who know exactly what happened to StarChat and the explicit messages that were sent to children. I don't think the removal of StarChat is a coincidence, and if I had to speculate, I would guess that part of the reason the game is now abandoned is because of the types of things that were said to us as children. We represent a very, very small fraction of the users of the app, which means that there has to be so many more cases of people who are also inappropriate message. Just saying, if I was running a game developing company that discovered one of my apps were sending sexually messages to children, I would also abandon the game ASAP. Someone knows what was said to girls like us, and they just aren't speaking up. No way a secret like that will stay hidden forever. But someone made a good point of saying, I thought AI wasn't advanced enough to generate a whole conversation too, but then I remember the game Talking Tom or Talking Angela, and they had similar chats. But someone said the convos were too specific to be AI generated. Like, I don't remember precisely, but I was a kid with no perfect grammar and talking about specific things, stuff or games I liked, and the response was very human-like. It would be pretty difficult and complicated for a girls' game to cover all those topics with AI help. I also used to play in Spanish. People are still asking on their social media to come back, so I believe it is really possible that only a few kids got this type of chats probably. In reply to that, saying, I did some research on SimiSimi API, the program used to run StarChat. I found multiple videos of minors using the SimiSimi application to have sexual conversations and some more violent and used racial slurs. It seems like the bot has been trained to reciprocate sexual and violent speech from all the users that interact with it, which accounts for why the crude saying was grammatically incorrect and read like a real person typing. The algorithm or whatever the used a completely unmoderated database of internet weirdos, and then that was branded as a boyfriend simulator. While I'm glad this means that there wasn't a network of pairs messaging children in several languages, it still means that some people somehow allowed the thousands or maybe millions of children played this game to potentially be exposed to violence messages. But we've got a little back and forth going on here with someone stating, I used to play this game but I wasn't a kid lol. I'm so intrigued to find out the truth now. But I have to say, based on the comments, I don't think it was AI generated at all. I always found suspicious that they just removed the game completely. After all, it was a great success downloaded all over the world. I'm starting to believe they used the hackers as an excuse because something illegal was going on. They didn't want any trouble, so they just decided to shut it down. Maybe some rumours about predators were spreading and they had to do it. Also, someone in the comments mentioned StarChat was a chat app with real people. Based on your research, my understanding is that they made it seem the messages are from bots like you found out, but they were not. They probably changed the app to make it seem that way, but I think they had to shut it down, the game, because they're at risk because the rumours about predators were spreading since they were getting reviews in the store and emails from gamers. They removed StarChat first, but the bugs and hackers were the perfect excuse to remove the game entirely and avoid consequences with the authorities. I always found their excuse about hackers to be so lame. They could have easily programmed the game from scratch. They created the game. You now tell me some hackers were the reason the game was gone? They invented it. To me, this is just some lame excuse because they were risking accusations. I suspect there were real people behind those creepy messages, and that's why the game is gone now, and the reason why it never came back. People were asking for a comeback, and it was a great opportunity for the company, but it can't come back because they were hiding something big. Someone else recounted their experiences by stating, as someone who never talked to anyone about those experiences, I really appreciate how seriously you take this. I learned and did a lot of things that I shouldn't have at a very young age because of this chat feature. I know this comment is from long ago, but I wanted to give some more info since you said you were interested in other experiences. I also played it in Spanish since I think all apps automatically were in Spanish due to me living in Mexico at the time. For the longest time I thought this might have been an AI that just spewed out other things that was fed, so by other creeps. But later on it started to make sense that it might have been a human on the other side. Since I was very little and had other traumatic things happen, I don't remember specifics, but I feel like I remember colloquial language texting shorthand, which would align with that. Anyway, thanks for making me feel seen and my experience acknowledged, especially with other comments like one above calling all of this BS. Another comment states, hi, I remember the whole StarChat thing. I didn't do anything with it originally when it came out, but I do remember downloading the older versions of the app, try out my flirting skills much later when the feature was taken down already. And although the bots didn't say anything inappropriate, I still saw complaints here and there, mostly on YouTube comments that their StarChat boyfriends were being weird. I remember reading this comment on YouTube vividly, and it was clearly written by a kid now that I think of it, that basically said something along the lines of, I invited my friend over and we were talking to a boyfriend and he said hi to her by name. I didn't mention her anywhere. I kept asking him how he knew her name and that I'm alone by myself, but he said that he knew she was with me. But that he knew that she was there. So yeah, I would like to add this random anecdote I found on YouTube almost 10 years ago, and I'm not a huge computer person, but it'd be great if someone could run the old version somewhere and deconstruct it to see how it really functions. They have an update saying, update, I've downloaded the 2013 Easter version of the app just to get StarChat and the feature is still there, but it's no longer working properly. Although my network connection is stable, the boyfriends keep telling me that there seemed to be an error on my end, but I found a lead. And this goes back to the other comment which states, and the loading screen is also a logo that says SimiSimi API. That's the same logo as the virtual robot friend SimiSimi, Korean. That was sort of popular around 10 years ago. If we can find out what kind of software SimiSimi is based on and how it works, we might be able to figure out how StarChat works. My best guess is AI that feeds in its human users' database. SimiSimi is still in the App Store. And I put my phone in Korean so the boyfriends do text me in, and this I must admit natural sounding Korean. It's still a puzzle to me why a China-based app would work together with a South Korean-based app and take their formula. Not saying it's impossible because it has happened, but it's really weird considering that China is tech savvy as well. But we've got another comment saying, guys, the app used SimiSimi API. The boyfriends were definitely bots, but both SimiSimi, which was an AI chat app, and stargirl servers got shut down. It's still possible to play the game, but you can't add friends nor play with online features. I'm 100% convinced the StarChat feature was just bots, but it doesn't remove anything to the grooming allegations. Edit, I just looked up the SimiSimi app and it's still up, but at that time it vanished completely from the Google Play Store. Now, I actually found an article about the game, which we're going to go through, stating children's smartphone app game Stargirl slammed for objectifying women. A smartphone game deemed suitable for preschool children has been slammed for promoting gold digging, inspired and flirting. A smartphone game deemed suitable for preschool children has come under fire for promoting gold digging, inspired and flirting for rewards at nightclubs. The controversial app game Stargirl, which has 1.2 million followers on Facebook, is age-rated 4+ by iTunes and scoring in popularity in Queensland. The free game puts the player in the high heels of an aspiring celebrity who's setting out to build her career as a superstar while having a ton of fun along the way. But further down, it states that the game also encourages children to use chat rooms and check their phones for messages from hot celebrities. With a rating of 4+, this app will likely slip under the radar of many parents who have taken steps to make sure their children aren't exposed to inappropriate content. But there wasn't much other coverage other than a blog post stating raunchy smartphone app gives girls wrong message. A new smartphone game for children that teaches girls to dress sexy and go on dates with hot guys is causing outrage for promoting the wrong values to girls. The Daily Mail is reporting on the app that invites children to step into the high heels of an aspiring celebrity who's setting out to build her career as a superstar while having a ton of fun along the way. Players are given 3 main career options: singer, actress or model, and are told to dress their avatar and lingerie and visit nightclubs where they flirt with hot guys. Sadly, the game is a hit among young girls, with its Facebook page boasting over 1.3 million likes. Originally marketed to children ages 4+, it was recently updated to a rating of 12+, but critics say that's not good enough. Now, we can go over to their Instagram page, which the last post was from the 20th of December 2019, and all the comments are just, come back. Please come back, come back, come back. I miss you, please come back, hi, come back. But there is one comment that just states, address the elephant in the room about the creepy talking to little girls with their boyfriend chat feature. That's it. All the other comments are just, come back, hi, come back. We want Stargirl back. After reading through all of that, I'm a little mixed. I do think some people love a good Predator conspiracy, you know, with all the Epstein stuff. It's quite, people make it much more of a spectacle. You know, it was the same with like Pizzagate and all that, which I am avidly against conspiracy theories surrounding that. I want to say in general, because a lot of conspiracy theories are racist, anti-Semitic. They draw on mass fear, and a lot of them don't really have much value. But I particularly feel that way in regards to child conspiracy theories, specifically with like Pizzagate and trafficking. A lot of that just devalues and takes away from real victim experiences, and it's something that I feel very passionate about for reasons which, if you're not new here, you know why. But I'm not going to get into that right now. When it comes to things like this, people love to make things bigger than they actually are. I do think this is probably just some rogue AI bot, and I don't want to say just as if that devalues anything, but I don't believe there were real people behind this. However, there should have been real people moderating that, and that's the issue. But do I think real men were messaging children? No. Do I think they were probably overseeing these messages and should have stepped in but didn't? Yeah, it's kind of how chat moderation works. And obviously that's a huge failing on that company. You know, you have safeguarding that you have to implement, especially when you have an app that was originally targeted 4+ in the App Store. You have safeguarding that you have to implement so that kids don't get harmed in this way. And the fact that it went on for so long before they used the excuse of, oh no, hackers, we didn't do anything. It was hackers were exploiting the game, so we have to take it down. We are not taking the game down because anything else happened. No, nothing else happened. We're not going to talk about it. Right, okay. But like the comments were saying, it was really hard to find any information about this game at all. There's pretty much nothing apart from a wiki page, which is just about the game itself. Not really anything much. But if you have any other information, I would love to maybe do a follow-up on this if we find anything else out. Please get in touch with me if you have any more information. Like I said, I'd love to do more on this, because like people are saying, this is a huge fucking issue of games being targeted towards specifically young girls, which are fucking weird. Like I said, I used to play girls' school games. I know the weird shit I used to play in there. It's fucking gross. But because it's targeted as like, this is a gaming website for young kids, for young girls, and no one's really going to moderate that. Your parents aren't going to think anything less. They're not going to think like, clearly there's fucking weird games on here. Why would they? Why would you think that? But also, that's another conversation for how parents should be monitoring your kids online, which they don't. This topic for another day. But yeah, please get in touch if you have any more information. Leave it in the comments if you've had any experiences with this. I'd love to research more into this, but I just wanted to make this as like an intro video to see if we can pull in any more information. And yeah, let me know your thoughts. Leave it down below, and I will see you next time. Bye.